Let's take a look now at Oregon's history of gun laws and mass shootings, starting with the Thurston High School shooting in Springfield, 1998. A teenager killed his parents and two students and injured 25 others. 2 years after that, voters in Oregon passed a measure requiring background checks at gun shows or before a licensed dealer sells a gun. That is the only ballot measure involving guns that Oregonians have ever passed. In 2004, the federal ban on assault weapons, which had started back in 1994, expired. Oregon has never passed its own assault weapons ban. 6 other states, including California, have passed bans, as has Washington, D.C. In 2009, Oregon lawmakers passed a bill to comply with federal gun laws for those with severe mental health issues. It requires the state to send the names of people banned from owning guns to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. The next year, in 2010, the Portland City Council passed its own gun control measure, including a ban on carrying loaded guns in public places. That was challenged later in court. In 2012, a gunman opened fire at the Clackamas Town Center just outside of Portland, killing 2 people and injuring another. The year after that, the state Supreme Court ruled that Portland's ban on loaded guns in public places is constitutional. In 2014, 4 students were hurt in a shooting outside Rosemary High School in Portland. In 2015, Oregon lawmakers passed background checks for all private gun sales. That expanded on the ballot measure applying to gun shows and dealers that passed back in 2000. Also in 2015, a gunman shot and killed 9 people at Umpqua Community College in Roseburg. 8 others were hurt. In 2016, Governor Kate Brown signed an executive order directing Oregon State Police to maintain a database for gun sales. The next year, the state lawmakers passed a red flag law. That's the one that keeps guns away from people who are deemed at risk of harming themselves or others. In 2019, a student entered a classroom in Portland's Parkrose High School with a loaded gun. However, a security guard got the gun away from him and no one was hurt. Investigators said the teenager only planned on hurting himself. The same year, state lawmakers passed a bill to close the so-called boyfriend loophole. That takes guns away from people convicted of domestic abuse against an unmarried partner. And then last year, the legislature passed a safe storage gun law. It requires gun owners to keep their firearms locked up when they're not using them. It also lets schools ban people from bringing guns on campus, even if they have a permit to carry them. So what's happening with gun control now? A group just got enough signatures to get a new measure on the November ballot. Initiative Petition 17 requires permits to purchase guns and bans large capacity ammunition magazines. Christine Pitawanich has a closer look.
This week, big news for hundreds of people across Oregon who have worked for years to strengthen gun laws. What started as an idea became a petition that, according to the Secretary of State's office, has now officially received enough signatures to make it onto the November ballot.
For the sake of the children and youth in this state, we are overjoyed, and for every Oregonian.
Reverend Mark Knutson of Augustana Lutheran Church in Northeast Portland is one of the chief petitioners and is part of Lift Every Voice Oregon, a group dedicated to reducing gun violence. Knutson says the measure would do 3 things.
1, it would ban large capacity magazines over 10. The second thing it does is a permit to purchase. You have to get a permit to learn to drive a car, right? Then to buy a gun, you have to have a background check.
He says while background checks do happen now, there are loopholes. The measure, if passed, would close them up.
Our opposition is already shook enough to already have begun their campaign against the measures.
That's Marilyn Keller, another chief petitioner.
And now it's time for us to get up, get out, rock the vote, get this thing passed so that we can begin to see another way of living, a safer way of living.
Rabbi Michael Kahana, a senior rabbi at Congregation Beth Israel in Northwest Portland, is the 3rd chief petitioner. He says the goal is to keep guns out of the hands of people who should not have them.
As with everything in life, we have to find balance. We have to find a balance with the rights of gun owners and the rights of ordinary citizens to live in safety.
Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green, gun owners, veterans, hunters, non-gun owners, all of us saying, no, this is too important.
Reverend Knutson with Lift Every Voice Oregon says at least 1,600 volunteers across the state of Oregon in every county made the movement possible. He's hopeful the grassroots efforts inspire communities elsewhere. In Northeast Portland, Christine Pitawanich, KGW News.